Stuff worth mentioning with Sid Caesar.
So this is the Fujifilm's X100 series of cameras. This is the X100V. This is the latest model. And this is the very first one, the X100. And I started with the X100, which is now my wife's camera, X100. And then over time I upgraded from this to the X100S, which was the second version. It had a little S on it, so I like to call it the Sid edition because I'm clever that way. And then I upgraded from the S to the X100F. And then recently I sold my F so that I could pick up the X100V, which was the most recent version of the camera available. And interesting enough, when I had the F, it didn't catch on to me the way that the X100 or the X100S or the X100V have. And I'm not sure what that was. I love the S. I think I had the X100S the longest out of all of the X100s so far. But I do like the V very much. And one of the major reasons why I upgraded to the V was because of the user-generated film simulation recipes that users have been creating that make it look like different film stocks. Portras and Velvillas and black and white like T-Max. The X100, you could kind of do that, but it didn't allow you to actually save some of the custom settings, most importantly the white balance settings and the color settings in the camera. With the X100V, you have 7 slots where you can go in and you can program everything and you can save it and you can name each file. So I have like a Tri-X 400, I have a Portra 400, and then I have ones for like overcast rainy days and stuff like that. The F couldn't let you do that. You could start to save some of the settings, but when it came to the color and the white balance, you had to manually go in and adjust that each time. With the V, all you need to do is you just select it and it's ready to go. So I really liked that idea of having sort of film simulations built into the camera. And interestingly enough, I use this camera completely opposite of how I do all of my real work, my studio work, my commercial work, my day-to-day job work, where I'm shooting raw and I'm making sure that I've got exposure nailed in and I'm using a light meter and I'm importing files into Photoshop afterwards. With the X100 series, I love the JPEG files that come out of this camera. So I'm shooting it primarily set to JPEG, and I'm shooting it primarily using these little film simulation recipes. Most notably, I'm using Portra 400 because it's got this kind of golden tone to it. And then for black and white, I have a Tri-X 400 that is just absolutely gorgeous, and it's just sharp and contrasty, and it's got a lot of film grain, and it looks like film grain, and it doesn't look like digital noise, which some cameras can do. But I just love this, and it's funny that I use it completely opposite of how I use the rest of the cameras. And a lot of the work that I've done locally for magazines, they run with the files that I give them out of the X100, so they don't have to worry about opening up raw files and dealing with stuff. And I like that. I like that Fuji. They did. I mean, in the film days, they made film. They understand film color. So I like the fact that all these little color film style things are already embedded right into the camera. Yeah, so that's the Fuji line. I love this thing. It's sort of it's my everyday carry. I always have it in my bag back and forth to the studio on weekends when we go away or on vacations. This is the first thing and usually the only thing I'm going to bring. I used to be one of these people who would load the trunk of a car full of bags of gear and cameras and lights and soft boxes and all this stuff. And I wanted to get away from that. I wanted to get away from constantly being surrounded by work. And so most of the time now, this is all I have. I'm not much of a street shooter. I'm not much of a landscape shooter. I'm a portrait photographer. So for me, when I'm out on vacations and stuff and I'm shooting things, most of the time things feel weird because either it's a landscape or we're in the city. So I'm not used to street shooting or landscape shooting. I always have to have a person in there. But the stuff that I have been shooting when we're going out, I absolutely love it. And I love the fact that I can just dump the files and I don't have to worry about over processing them too much. They're just good to go. So this is the one that I have day to day in my bag. And then Sarah has her X100. And for her X100, we have it in a little Domke F5XB bag. It usually has a little flap that goes over the top, but years and years ago, I cut it off for some dumb reason. And it's a gorgeous size. If people are thinking, like if you're looking for a bag for your X100 and you don't know, this is an option. This is a Domke X, what did I just say? no, the F5XB, something like that. It's got a little front pocket where you can drop some stuff. It's got a nice big robust zipper on there. And then it's basically got, for me, for Sarah's camera, it's got two little sections. The camera goes in one section like that. And then she's got a small little section for her batteries and her battery charger. And it's great. And she just slings it right around her body, or she can wear it over her shoulder. And it's a nice little sized bag. I think they run about $100, maybe a little bit more, which is a little expensive for this type of bag. But it's a nice little compact bag. My day-to-day bag that I use is this gorgeous goat leather messenger bag that I've had for almost 15 years now. And I'll talk a little bit about this bag in my next entry. But my day-to-day bag, this is where I carry all of my day-to-day stuff Monday through Friday when I'm going to and from work. I have a little bag in here. It's basically like the same size as the Domke. Has two pockets where my camera can just sit in here. I have a little tiny bag that's got extra batteries and a camera strap. And then this bag has a little zipper on the top, and that's where I keep an extra camera strap and some other junk in here. And this is sort of my day-to-day. Like, this is Monday through Friday. When I get in the car, this is what I take with me to work. And it's awesome. And then, this is suddenly becoming a bag review. So on weekends when we go out and we're on vacation or whatever, and I don't want to bring my weekly bag because it's got all my weekly work-related stuff, I have this thing, and this is literally one of the very first things that I bought off of the internet in like 1994. Because I'm such a big Indiana Jones fan, I had always wanted one of the little satchel bags that he carried around in the movies. So this is a World War II Mark IV gas mask bag. I bought it from a place called What Price Glory off of like Web 1.0. And I've had it for 30 something years. And it's amazing. And so I've been using this as my weekend vacation getaway bag. And it's just tiny little fabric bag. I bought another little insert for it off of Amazon for $10. And like on the weekends, I just drop my camera in there. I drop my little bag of batteries and stuff. And there's still room. There's like a flap where I could put some gloves in there or something like that. And then this thing, I just sling it right around my body like Indiana Jones. And I got my camera, and it's a small, sort of a small bag. And I love it. I recently replaced the sides, which were like a cottony fabric, and just over time it started to deteriorate. So my local cobbler, I brought it over to my local cobbler. I think for like $20. He just sewed these robust leather pieces on here, and it's never going to go anywhere now. Like, it's just super, super ready to go. And so I just strap it on, and I got my bag. I'm ready to go. And I got this little strap off Amazon. It's sort of made out of seatbelt material. It's very smooth, and it feels really good. Doesn't irritate my skin or anything. As my weekend bag, this is my day bag, and Sarah's got her bag. X100s, man. Like, it's all about the X100s. So that's sort of what I use as my everyday carry, and I use it occasionally for local magazine assignments. And I've done some portraits with it too, and I'll throw a couple of images up here. On location, you know, I'll grab a light, and I'll get out on location with somebody, and I'll throw in a wireless trigger, and I'll make some location portraits with it. I haven't done a whole lot with it because when I'm out on vacations on the weekend and stuff, usually it's just the camera and I'm shooting natural light. So I haven't integrated it too much into portrait sessions, but I have done some in the past. And that's it. Long-winded story about how much I love my X100. And I'll talk about my bag next. And I might even do a little quick one about this as well. So there you go. Stuff I like. Thanks. X100. Yay.